join me in welcoming Nikki Pett.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nikki.
Thank you. So that almost summarizes everything up. I can leave now. Now, I didn't realize the bio was as long as it was, but good morning and thank you very much for being here today. So Chantel invited me here to share with you how you can end cold calling for business. And here's why I'm really excited to be here today. I'm a peer. I am in your industry. And some of my suppliers asked me, Nikki, why would you share all of your secrets and your juicy strategies with competitors? And to be honest with you, I come from a place of complete abundance. I think that this industry has an enormous amount of potential. I think that there's a huge playing field and that there's more than enough business for absolutely everybody. So I promise you that being here today, I'm not going to hold back. I'm going to give you all the secrets that I've learned along the way over the past 14 years. I'm also really excited because I can relate to this. I can relate to the stress that each one of you encounters through this business. So how many people in the room own a promotions business? And then how about sales representatives and vendors? A couple of vendors, awesome. So regardless of kind of where you are, you're gonna pick up some really great strategies and techniques. Here's what I know, and here's how I can relate, is very often we have character building days, weeks, or months. As business owners, sometimes we are taking care of HR, we're taking care of finances, we're taking care of sales teams. As salespeople, we're taking care of our clients. We're closing that really big deal that we've been dying to do business with. We check the inventory to make sure that it was there. We place the order only to find out that the inventory wasn't there. Adds a little bit of stress to your day, yes? So I know that this business can be stressful, and I know that sales can also be really stressful because some of us think that we have to constantly be hustling to chase new business all of the time. And I think that we've been told a myth. We've been told a myth that you have to, number one, cold call. You have to just get on the call and hammer to get new clients, and that's simply not true. The other myth that we've been told is that we have to spend thousands of dollars on traditional forms of advertising, and that's simply not true too, because what I can tell you is that you can have insane growth in your business, a renewed passion and enthusiasm for what you do, and you can have more balance if you follow some of the strategies that I have learned along the way. So why have I put this system together? So I'm speaking to my colleagues now, but I also travel and I speak to other sales professionals and entrepreneurs. And the reason why I'm so passionate about helping other entrepreneurs and salespeople succeed is I started out 14 years ago in this business, and I worked for an old school sales guy. This really isn't him, obviously, but I worked for that old school sales mentality, and it was that hit and run based training. And in fact, my training consisted of a stack of catalogs. There you go, kiddo, you can make a lot of money if you sell pens and lapel pins. That was my training. And I was told just to get on the phone, hammer the phone, go knocking on people's doors. And that is so outdated, and there's such an easier way for you to have explosive growth in your business. Because I lasted 2 years doing all of those things, and then finally went on my own and realized that the ROI, the return on your investment, is always in the relationship. So you'll want to write that down. You have pens, you have handouts on your table. The return on your investment, on all of your efforts, is going to be in the relationship. And this is where you will see prosperity. You will see growth in your business. So I want everyone to take a deep breath and have a get real moment. How many of you have ever lost a client to the competition? Most people in the room can say yes to that, and I'm going to tell you why I know that in a sec. How many of you have been working with a supplier and you've been wooed away to work with their competition? You start working with another supplier. Most people can say yes to that too. Here's why I know that this is true. Stats tell us that 68% of people will leave and go work with the competition, and it has nothing to do with price. 68%, that's a scary number. You could have provided an amazing product, awesome value, you delivered on time, you delivered on budget, they were thrilled, they raved about your services at the time. You might have even solved their freaking problem. But stats tell us 68% could slip away, and it comes down to one thing. People will leave if they feel that we don't appreciate their business. So that's a pretty compelling number. And this is more relevant now, really, than ever before. And I call this the EVA principle. This is the foundation of absolutely everything that I teach. People are desperate to feel engaged, valued, and appreciated. And if you can fill that void with your clients and with the people that you meet on a day-to-day basis, you will be a magnetic person to do business with. It sounds really simple, and it's absolutely true, and it's the foundation of everything that we teach. So why is this EVA principle so relevant? Because we live and work in a digitally crazed world. No one is going to argue that we have more impersonal connections now than ever before in history. But something that has remained the same is every single person in this room, everybody you come in contact with, is desperate for a genuine connection with other people. So yeah, we live in this, we're tethered to our devices, right? We go into, this is not uncommon. This is not uncommon even to see people sitting around. Perhaps you've gone in to do a presentation and there's a team around a boardroom table and you have people kind of looking down at their crotches while you're talking. This is not uncommon. And it's great. Technology is wonderful because it gives us the opportunity to be able to do tons of research, to find out amazing products, to get contact information. There are absolutely some benefits. I remember when I first started in the industry, we used to only look up products in the catalogs, or we would go through the supplier book and kind of look through for paper cups and find them, call them, and get faxed over a picture. So yeah, it's sped up things and it's made our life easier. But there's also challenges that come along with this increase in technology. And I firmly believe that technology is a breeding ground for miscommunication. Absolutely believe this to be true. Say you have a client who is upset about an order. The order went sideways, it wasn't even your fault, and they send you this nasty email. And so you respond to that email. Rather than pick up the phone, you respond with a very polite email with what you think is a really reasonable solution to the problem. So you go home that night. The next morning, you wake up, you sleep in. The alarm doesn't go off. The kids are late for school. You have to drive them to school because they've missed the bus. You arrived at the office late. It's a horrible start to the day. The very first email that you open is their response to your solution. And that email has one word, and that one word is fine. Chances are, because of the morning you're having, you're going to interpret that in a negative way, when that might not be the case at all. Say you come to work the next day and you've woken up early, it's not -20 out, it's +30, it's beautiful, the birds are singing, you have your best outfit, you're ahead of time, you're feeling on top of the world, and you get to work. And you open that same email response, and it's fine. You're going to interpret that in a very, very different way. So yes, it's done wonderful things, but I also think it's time to go back to that real, personal, human-to-human touch with people that they're desperately craving. So this morning we're going to go through 3 kind of main areas. We're going to talk about how to have amazing relationships with your clients, relationships with your business, and also how to leverage the relationships in your community for sales as well as referrals. So what holds us back from being proactive and taking the time to actually inject some of our day into this relationship or relationship marketing? Our to-do lists kind of look like this on the right-hand side. Our day is already completely jammed. And the reality is, some companies are still teaching their salespeople that they have to keep hustling. They have to keep running after new business all the time. So it holds us back from actually focusing on what works. So under clients, if you're taking notes, you'll want to write these down. These are the first few ways that you can build excellent bonds with either your clients or prospective clients. So you're out meeting somebody at an event, and this is a great way. So point number one, please be the opposite to this guy right here. How many of you have ever had this happen? Were you out to dinner? Yeah. So some people are sitting there like, mm-hmm. So my husband used to do this, and my rule of thumb is if you have a warm body in front of you, your phone should be off. My rule is I don't deliver heart valves for surgery. No one is going to die. If I'm in with a client, my phone is off. That person gets my 100% attention. So creating bonds, first point is to be 100% present. 100% present means that if you're out to lunch with a client or you're having coffee, you're making eye contact. There's actually scientific studies that tell us if we can face someone heart to heart, we actually make a faster connection. And if you can remember the color of somebody's eyes, there's something that actually triggers within the brain and you have a stronger magnetic pull right away. So you want to give eye contact. Your body language should be facing them. You want to have that phone off. I will tell you, and not a supplier in this room, I have even had suppliers come and do PK sessions and answer their phone in the middle of a presentation. You want to be completely engaged with the person that you're with. Second point is you want to ask great open-ended questions. Ask people, rather than going to a networking function and asking someone, what is it that you do? And someone will typically say, well, I'm in insurance. And then the conversation kind of goes stale. So you want to ask great open-ended questions, not only when you're networking, but also when you're in meetings. This is going to really, really set you apart. So networking, I like to ask people, who do you serve? This is an amazing way to get people to completely talk about why it is that what they do, why they're as passionate about their job as they are, what drew you to this line of work. People have incredible backgrounds. I met a woman who was in fireworks sales before she got into insurance, and just finding people to talk to. People love to talk about themselves. So give them the spotlight, give them the opportunity. Who is your very best client and why? This is an amazing question to ask people when you're out networking. Why? Because it sets the stage for one of our next points, which is to be able to connect them with other people, if you know people in that industry. What motivates you is not your opening line. You might freak people out if you open up with what motivates you, but it is a great question to ask people once some rapport has been built. But think about it even in terms of going into meetings. Most people will go into a meeting and they will pitch their services or pitch their product. That's what I was trained in. You go in and you pitch what you have to offer. Now whenever I'm in to see a client, it's all open-ended questions. I don't go in with a bag of samples. I'm in there asking, what are their goals? What are their objectives? What are the trends going on in their industries? What challenges are they facing? And it will set you apart immediately, because people are shocked that I'm not slamming ideas down their throat. I want to know, how is it that I can help you? How is it that I can serve you? Third point for creating bonds is you want to be a devout listener. Devout listener. So I know there's a couple of people in the room who have heard me speak before, so I'm sure you probably remember this really staggering statistic. The Associated Press did a study 20 years ago about our attention spans. 20 years ago, our attention spans were 20 minutes long. In 2012, they did the same study. Our attention spans, can anyone guess what they dropped? From 20 minutes, how far they dropped?
20 seconds.
5 minutes?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
So our attention spans, good one. So I heard 5 minutes, I heard 20 seconds. They have 3 minutes. Our attention spans have officially dropped from 20 minutes to 9 seconds. What's scarier is that 1 year later, they did that same study. It dropped again. From 2012 to 2013, our attention spans went from 8 to 9, or from 9 to 8 seconds long, which means that Nemo officially has a longer attention span than we do as humans. So why do I tell you that statistic? Because you will automatically be a magnetic person to do business with if you are a devout listener. It's so simple, but it's so true. And I know that people are craving to be heard now more than ever before. You look on social media, people want to have a say, or they want to have a poke, they want to have a comment in there, they want to rally people. They want their voices heard, because we live in a society, we don't listen to each other anymore. And I was in getting my nails done, not this Christmas, but last Christmas, where we had that big power outage here. And so it's just after the Christmas holidays, and I'm in the salon, and for the ladies in the room that get your nails done, before they came out with shellac, which is a miracle, the acrylic used to take about 10 minutes to dry. So just as they're finishing putting on the acrylic on my nails, I go and I put my hands into the dryer. Just as I slip my hands in, this woman comes in and sits beside me. I smile at her, she smiles at me. Within 10 minutes, I hear about the power outage at their home, that she has sleep apnea. Her sleep apnea machine didn't have a backup generator, so they had to go stay at a hotel. I heard about her diabetes. I heard about her son. I heard about her son's lover. I heard about their recent trip to the Dominican. I heard about their dog. They were dog sitting, which was a pug, in being neutered that day. 10 minutes long. People are desperate for that kind of attention. People are desperate to be heard. It's every single person in the room. It's me. It's everybody wants and craves a connection with somebody else. And you will close more business if you give other people the spotlight. Ask amazing questions. So if you're out networking, we're going to talk about networking in a couple moments, but if you're out meeting people, meeting new clients, you're going to run into some different personalities as well. So we have Indifferent Ian, who doesn't really give a rip. He's just here because somebody told him to be here and he's tethered to his phone. Then we have Pouncing Pamela, who tells you all about her amazing life and doesn't let you get a word in edgewise. And then we have Defensive Dan. He kind of showed up for a brawl. He doesn't even know why, but he's on the edge, right? Sometimes we've been in to see clients like that. And then we have One-Upper Olivia. No matter what you say, you're going to Italy next year? She's been there, done that. Your kid won the spelling bee at 6, hers did at 5, no biggie. So you run into all these different personalities, but as a great relationship marketer, you want to be like a genuine Genevieve or a genuine Greg. So it is that person who wants to hear about what's going on in other people's worlds, who wants to know how we can genuinely seek to serve the clients that we have the privilege of doing business with. And I always say, be more interested than interesting. I did not make up that line. I don't know who it is, but I remember it. I put it on there. All right, point number 4 for creating bonds is that you'll be able to personalize all your communication. When you are asking amazing questions and you are listening, you will remember names. How many of you have ever been to a networking function and you're introduced to someone and within 2 seconds you're like, crap, I completely forgot what their name was. It happens all the time, right? Our brains are so consumed and so cluttered. So you will remember names. You'll remember spouses' names. You'll remember kids' names. You'll remember pets' names. That's where the money is, right, Brian? Remembering those little details makes all the difference in the world. Why? Because then you can go back and you can actually personalize all of your communications. If they talk about the fact that they kind of feel in that sandwich generation where they just happen to mention, they make a comment that, you know, they're stressed out, they're taking care of their kids, but they're also taking care of their parents. Well, follow up and ask how that's going later on. And it's interesting because I'm a fairly private person. I know I'm up here right now, but I'm a fairly private individual. So before I got into a lot of these questioning techniques and even deeper into questions and personal questions, I used to think people aren't going to want to tell me this. I am telling you, people will tell you anything and everything if you give them a listening ear. But you want to definitely communicate that personalization, what you remember from the conversation. Why is this important? It reminds them and it tells them that you're not all about the check. You care about them as an individual, and it goes a long way. And that's one of my favorite quotes there by Dale Carnegie, and it's so true. It's so simple, but even if you go into a restaurant and somebody remembers your name, you feel really important. So another great step. 5th thing is that you want to give first. Give first. What do I mean by this? Couple of examples. First, we talked about asking those open-ended questions, which means that you're putting that other person completely in the spotlight. You're giving them the spotlight and all the attention. Second thing that you can do is if you have people that you're meeting out at events and they talk about an event they're hosting or a promotion they have on the go, what can you do to share that on social media? Is it relevant information to your people? Go out of your way and help people first. This could be LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. Put that other person first without asking anything in return. And then another way, of course, you can give is through referrals. Really be listening for who your clients want to do business with, who those prospective people that you're out meeting at events want to do business with. And if you have a warm lead, make that connection. It goes a long, long way. So second thing that we're going to talk about is the importance of appreciation. So I shared that 68% stat, which was pretty scary stuff. And I just want to share a couple of additional stats with you. A 5% increase in client retention can increase profits by 125%. 80% of your future profits will come from just 20% of your existing clients. That's that Pareto law, right? So 80% of the results come from 20% of the cause. So if you look at your actual client list, if you look at your sales, chances are that big majority of that money, that income, is coming from a very small group of people. Those referrals that come in time and time again are most likely coming from a handful of people. So we want to make sure that we take care of them in a really powerful way. So strategy number 1 for taking care of your clients would be personally handwritten notes. Rocket science, I know. So personally handwritten notes are an incredibly powerful way to immediately set yourself apart from a sea of other distributors. Why? Because a personally handwritten note will always get to the intended decision maker. You have an administrative assistant. She's allowed to go through all the mail. She can open up even financial documents. But a personal note comes across his or her desk, it's going right to the person it's intended to go to. It's incredibly powerful because the person on the receiving end realizes they could have just sent an email. or a text message, but they actually took the time to stop and pen a note. And people hold on to notes. They have really long shelf lives. I'll go up to a client I haven't seen just recently. I sent a Thanksgiving card. It's still up in her cubicle because no one takes the time to do them. So I'm going to share with you some of the reasons why I send out personally handwritten notes. And again, being in your industry, I've actually used them, and they're industry specific, and they do produce results. So first things first, obviously, if someone sends you some business, rather than sending a form letter, my personal favorite, which makes me feel really special, is Dear Valued Client. Really, the irony in that, right? So we want to be different than everybody else. You want to thank people. I want to thank you for your business. I know there's a lot of suppliers or a lot of distributors out there that do what we do. I just want to thank you for choosing us. You meet someone at a networking function. You meet someone in a social setting. Follow up with a personally handwritten note. Very often people will go to conferences and they meet maybe 30, 40 potential people that they could do business with, and they get connected on all kinds of social media. Be the one person that sends out a personally handwritten note, that follows up and says, it was great sitting beside you at the chamber function, sounds like business is booming, would love to hear more about your business. It opens up that door for future communication. I had someone in a workshop ask me once, what if I didn't like them? So don't send a note, right? It should be genuine, and you don't want to initiate a relationship with somebody that you don't like or that you don't want to do business with. Next reason, there's a lot of money here. You'll want to write this down, past patronage thank you. What do I mean by this? We know that no matter how good we are at what we do, people will forget about us. They'll forget about us. They might be top of mind for us as a great client. We're not top of mind for them. So send out a past patronage card. What would that look like? If you have someone who every June they seem to come to you for golf tournament gifts. In January and February, send out a note and say, Happy New Year to you. I want to thank you for your past patronage. I know that this time last year you started getting organized and ready for your tournament in June. Would love the opportunity to earn your business again this summer. What an amazing way to plant the seed, and you're not being aggressive. You're not being rude, but you're reminding them that you appreciate that relationship. The next, really important, is to thank your referral sources. Your referral sources, the people who send you referrals time and time again, are natural givers. They want to help you grow your business, and they have to be appreciated, or else again, they'll forget about you, or someone else sweeps in and they offer that awesome service and they cultivate that relationship. They're going to send the referrals their way. So I always let people know, I want to thank you for your referral to Bob. He's an amazing person. Rest assured that anyone that you send my way will receive the highest level of service possible. But it could be your wording. I'm just giving you ideas. You, of course, if you would never talk like that, don't write a card like that. Make it sound like you. Make sure that it's genuine. So this one is probably one of my favorites. This one deserves its own slide. This is the humble pie strategy. So I heard some people when Chantal introduced me kind of gasp when she said that I write notes to people when I don't get the business. This is an untapped gold mine. So about 5 years ago, I was asked to quote on a large conference, and there were about 5 distributors. We came down to the 3 of us in the running. I came downtown, presented my strategies, ideas, some sample products. When I did my follow-up, I was told they went with someone else who was cheaper. So I was really gracious, hung up the phone, but here's what I did next, and here's what nobody does, and if you do it, I promise you, you will reclaim lost sales. So I hung up the phone, I wrote her a note, and I said, I want to thank you for the opportunity to quote on your conference. I know you went in a different direction this time, but my thank you is for your time, and I look forward to the possibility of earning your business in the future. That's why I call it the humble pie strategy. It takes a lot. I know, and I'm sure you can all relate to being in a situation where you hustled, you got in the car, you got samples, you even invested in pre-production samples to be done, you hustle, get over there, you make them their top priority, and they come back to you and say they've gone with someone who's cheaper. It feels really unfair, and you feel slighted for all of the effort that you've put into it. But if you can take a slice of humble pie, you will reclaim those lost sales. So I send out this note. About 5 days later, I get a call. She says, I cannot believe you sent me a note when you didn't get the business. But here's the thing. The guy who was awarded the contract, he hasn't signed it yet, and I know I want to do business with you now. If you can be here tomorrow morning at 7:30, the deal is yours. Here's what's incredibly powerful. That $1.50 and an ounce of humility has been over $500,000 in revenue plus spin-off referrals. So really powerful. If you take anything away today, I hope that you implement the humble pie strategy. So moving along, we're going to talk about personal calls. I am absolutely not talking about cold calling. That's how I was trained. I would rather drive a fork through my freaking eye than pick up the phone and do cold calling. What I'm talking about here is actually reaching people voice to voice instead of getting them by email or sending out a text message or an instant message. So you're going to see a little bit of overlap here. Why did I do this? Because inevitably, someone in the room is going to say, love the idea of the notes, my handwriting is horrible. Is anyone thinking that right now? Yeah, a lot of people. I've done workshops all over. I've had one person, when we do a full day workshop and we actually do the handwritten notes, one person who has beautiful handwriting. No one cares. It's the actual thought behind it. But if you know for sure, you will not pick up a pen and you will not do a personal note, I'm going to share with you how you can inject the personal calls and still have a really positive impact. So first things first, call people. Thank them for the sale. Thank them for choosing you. Let them know you're going to be in touch. You're going to keep them posted. When you're asking those really in-depth, open-ended questions when you meet with your clients or meet with people, you're going to find out very quickly, are they kind of surface people? So I'm kind of a surface person. I don't care how the car works, I just want it to take me from A to B. I work with a lot of event planners who are very detail oriented. So I know I have to keep notes and keep them posted along the way. So thanking someone for the sale, keeping them posted. Meeting someone at a networking function, again, follow up with a personal call. Ask when you can meet, what challenges they're facing in their business. We're going to talk about being a greedy giver in a few minutes. And be, again, that person who either does the note, which is number one, or at least follows up with a personal call. Past patronage as well. Great reason to check in. Also under past patronage is an opportunity for you to do almost an informal kind of survey. So we know that people are desperate to feel engaged. Ask people, call people up and say, I want to thank you again for your business. Listen, we've been doing a lot of orders with you. What can we do to increase our level of service? And just leave that open-ended question. That one question we injected in our business, we had a bunch of people come back with the same response of a product that they didn't think that we offered, that we actually did offer. And now that we listened to them, got their feedback, we've been doing sales specifically in that area. So really powerful to check in with people. Also to thank your referral sources. Let people know along the way how things are going. What does this do? It reminds them again of who you are. If someone walks into their office and needs what you have to offer, you're going to be top of mind. But it instantly raises the bar of professionalism and credibility for you and that referral partner. And I don't have any humble pie personal calls because if there's ever any situation, and I talk about this in my full day workshop, where something goes wrong, you can actually turn around a fuming client into a raving fan by handling it in the right way. But I always encourage that to be belly to belly or voice to voice if need be. So next thing we're going to talk about under clients is random acts of kindness. So these are actually conscious acts of kindness. I just thought that CAC didn't sound like a fantastic strategy. So, random acts of kindness, or RAC. So he's not in the room right now, but I do have a friendly competitor, Richard. He's an amazing guy who won a very large account that all of us would probably love to be serving, and he did it through a random act of kindness. So he called this office he was trying to get into for quite some time, and when he called to speak with the woman he was looking to do business with, he was told that she was out for lunch and she would be a little bit later because today was her birthday. So she was out with the girls. So being the smart man that he is, he hung up the phone, called the bakery, had them make a cake with her name on it, signed from him. She was so touched by that gift and that random kind of acknowledgement that she called him in. And they've been doing business for, I think it's been over a decade now. But don't underestimate random acts of kindness. That could be simply acknowledging people's birthdays. You have someone who mentions that, you know, Anne's been out of the office because she lost her brother-in-law. Write an actual sympathy card, send out birthday gifts, do all those things. And I will tell you, social media is an amazing cheat sheet for all that information, right? So if you are following someone on Twitter, you're gonna know what's going on. Facebook and LinkedIn will actually tell you when somebody's birthday is coming up. And I know it seems really small, but it really truly does solidify that bond with your client. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is we're going to get into having a great relationship with your business. So can anyone relate to this statement? I know I can. I've had days, yesterday I had a character building day. It's really important that we have great relationships with our business, otherwise we lose all of our passion and all of our enthusiasm for serving our clients. So I'm going to share with you, these are some peak performance tips and strategies that I have learned along the way that have shaped having a better relationship with my business so that I feel like I'm in control of it rather than the other way around. So these are all things that I personally do, and they're things that I've picked up over the past 14 years that I wish I started 14 years ago. So first thing, wake up early. So when I first started out in this business, I used to get up around 7:30, I'd be at my desk around 9, and I would think I'm groovy. Now it's a totally different story. Why? Because I've heard the stats and I know that the most successful people, the small percentage in the world, wake up about 3 hours earlier than the average person. And I have to tell you, there's something really incredibly powerful about knowing that you've put in 2-3 hours of work before your competitors are at their desk. It's a really great feeling. So waking up early, having that routine. So I know that when I first started out, there was no one to tell me what to do, where to be, the structure whatsoever. But once I actually set out a routine for myself, that's when I started seeing the results. And I was actually able to, instead of working 7 days a week, be able to manage that business and actually love my job again. Eliminate negativity. So sometimes this means eliminating people from your life. I don't mean really eliminate, terminate people, but you might want to pull back from being around certain people. I know that as my business, I got really serious about growing my business, I faced a lot of criticism. And there were a lot of people that I had to really pull back from in order to be able to grow. One of the major turning points in my business was in 2008. Great year for sales, right? We're like in the worst part of the recession. Everyone, the news was saying, you know, people are going out of business, nobody's buying promo goods, no one's having Christmas parties anymore, Christmas is canceled. We had 43.3% growth that year. And I'm not telling you that to boast, I'm telling you that because eliminating the news was one of the major factors that contributed to that. So I was working with a coach at the time who said, okay, talk me through your routine. So I get up, I have my coffee, I watch the news, and that, whoa, cut out the news. I know people in this room think that I'm crazy right now. I get my news on social media channels. I figure if there's anything major that happens that's going on, I'm going to hear about it. I promise you, if you eliminate the news, what it did for me was it meant that in 2008, when people weren't going out and getting belly to belly with people and they're seeing their clients, I was completely positive. I was in a completely different mindset because I wasn't listening to all the junk going on in the media. And we grew our business because of that. Next thing is to be constant learner. So whether that is industry specific or your time when you're out commuting. I know one of the major changes in my business as well was when I'm commuting from one end of Toronto to the other end of Toronto is to put in and listen to sales trainers and motivational things. And rather than reading Us Weekly, I switched over and started reading Success Magazine and learning the faster way to success, which has made me have a better relationship with my business. I'm managing things better. Couple of best practices that I want to share with you. So I encourage you to do some of the strategies that we're talking about and inject that into the very start of your day. So I do all my relationship marketing for the very first 2 hours of my day. So what does that mean? I'm doing my personal notes, personal calls. I'm checking online to see if anyone has a birthday or if I should send off a sympathy card or send flowers. That's my first 2 hours of the day, completely devoted to existing relationships. Second best practice. Has anyone read the book Do It Now? Oh, such a good book. 250 pages. I'm going to save you a couple hours. The underlying message of that whole book is if it takes less than 2 minutes, do it now. One of the best things I've ever read and picked up on, and it'll completely transform your day and time management. Next one is voicemail. This seems really bizarre. It seems really tedious. Change your voicemail every day. Let people know where you're at. Why did I do this? Because we got to this spike in the business where I wasn't as responsive as I once was just because of the volume that was going on. Well, people would call 5 times in a row trying to reach me. And if I'm with a client, I'm not answering. My phone is off. And so what I did was this simple way to manage those relationships with your clients and to set up the expectation is to let them know what your day looks like. So today, mine says, I'm going to be in a workshop this morning, I'll be in meetings this afternoon, please leave a message, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. People respond to this, but it's also taken the pressure off that I don't have to feel as crazy about getting back to people because I've managed that expectation for my client. And then of course, having goals was a big one that changed my relationship with my business. When I finally set out goals and started reaching goals and started being profitable, it's a whole lot more fun when we're making a profit, yes? When we're doing these 6-7 days a week, 18-hour days, and then not making a profit on top of it can be completely demoralizing. So goals was a huge one as well. And I think a shift in mindset also really, really important. This was a turning point. How many of you have been told that the month of January is slow for sales? Be honest. I was told that when I first started. How many of you are told that the summer is typically slow? Yeah? Okay. When I was first trained, I was told January's dead, don't even worry about it. Don't even bother going to see people. June, July, people are all up at Lake Muskoka, Lake Joe, nobody's buying anything. So I reacted to that, and I didn't get proactive with the strategies that I'm teaching. About 8 years ago, I had a January, I had one assistant, I had one team member at the time. I had a January that literally nearly killed me. We had no sales. It was a horrible feeling, and I thought, never, ever again am I going through that. So what did I do? I had that switch in mindset. November and December started planning sessions with clients to have these amazing open-ended question meetings. I'm not going to sell you anything. I just want to come in and find out what your goals are for 2015. But inevitably, people bought. Same thing with June, July, and August. They're our busiest months of the year because it's a shift in mindset, and it's getting out there and getting belly to belly with people, making eye contact, talking to them, and it isn't selling people, it's just getting in front of them to find out how you can help. And that's how you will differentiate yourself in a down market. Really important, you eliminate PITAs from your business. Can anyone guess what a PITA is?
Pain in the ass?
You bet. So we all deal with PITAs at one point or another. In order for you to have a healthy relationship with your business, you have to eliminate PITAs. How do you know you're dealing with a PITA? They are late for meetings, or sometimes they bail. They don't even show at all. When they call the office, they want you and only you. They want your undivided attention, but when you try and reach them with a question, good luck. PITA is someone who wants the very best product at the very lowest price. And on top of it all, they take the longest to pay. So if you haven't thought of a PITA yet, I'm sure because some of you are nodding and smiling that you have thought of one. If you haven't thought of a PITA yet, you will know you are dealing with a PITA if your phone goes and you see the telephone number on your screen and you would rather dive under your desk than answer the call. Then you know you're dealing with a PITA. So I'll share a quick story with you. I was dealing with an elephant-sized account. Literally, it was a Fortune 500 company about a decade ago. And I thought, I'm really lucky to have this account. But they fell into that PITA category. They were brutal to deal with, brutal. They sucked the life and energy from me, literally. And talk about having all your eggs in one basket. They accounted for about half of my sales at the time. Really scary stuff. And so I evaluated the situation, and on top of everything, they took 120 days to pay their bills. So I figured, okay, I'm a pretty small company. I cannot afford to finance this Fortune 500 company. So I went to them, and it was probably one of the scariest things I've ever had to do in business. And I went to them and I fired them. I had to let them know that I couldn't serve them any longer. And I was freaking out, but here's what happened. The minute I let them go, I loved what I did again, and I had enthusiasm and energy and passion to go out and actually see and serve the clients that deserved my business. And not only did we recoup those sales, but we grew that year. So I encourage you to eliminate PITAs. I'm going to share with you really quickly a couple of strategies on how to do that. First thing you can do, and actually no, it's not in any particular order. I had someone one time say, hey, I'd have a tough talk first. Totally fine, you can start with the tough talk. First thing you can do is refer them to a friendly competitor. So I have relationships with competitors who are really easygoing people that will work with some of the people I'm not willing to deal with. So create those bonds with people in the industry. Ask them. I always say, here, look, here's the lay of the land. This is what it's like, but it's all yours. Here's their file. Here's their graphic art. You can have them. I don't ask for any kickbacks. I just send them on their way. So you can refer them if you're dealing with a PITA. Second thing you can do is just be passive. So in our business, we do a lot of client appreciation events and really fun kind of promotions. So basically what we do is, guess what? They don't get put on the VIP list. They don't get invited to our events. They don't get a part of the gifts of gratitude that we send out. And then, yes, if they call the office and they're going to be respectful to staff, and if they're going to pay ahead of time by Visa, we will absolutely process your order, no problem. But you want to be passive with those people. You could increase your rates. If you do consulting in addition to actual promotional items, just double that strategy, that consulting rate. If someone's not going to pay for you at what you're charging now, they're certainly not going to pay double. And then the last one would be tough talks. I've had to do this about 3 times in the past 14 years. Feels really good. Feels really good. I had one organization, one lady who was head of, again, this huge organization, national account that I thought I should just be grateful for, and she was verbally abusive. And so I got to the point and I said, you know, I don't know if you talk to everybody in your world the way you speak to me and my team, but I don't treat my team members the way that you do, and I expect to have mutual respect between the clients that I serve and my team members, so we're gonna have to let you go. And literally, it again opens up that door for you to really put all of your time, your focus, and your energy into those really great people. So wrapping up quickly, just under community, having a great relationship with your community. I'm gonna give you some quick tips on how to rock out networking functions. So how many of you go out to like chamber functions, or you're out in the community meeting new people? Like 5 people. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is an untapped gold mine too. So at networking functions, you'll want to arrive early. And if you're not going to them, I encourage you to go, because there's so many pockets where people need the services that we have to offer, where there's open categories. So I'd encourage you to go out and meet people this way. So you want to arrive early, especially if it's a structured meeting. You want to get there early enough so you can actually have those open-ended questions and conversations with people. You want to prep your questions. If you happen to be on the introverted side, which I know a lot of people that I coach with, they don't want to go to networking functions. They are scared to go to networking functions. They don't want to meet new people. I tell them, go with some open-ended questions ready to go, and it will put you at ease. You want to set goals too. So if I'm going into a function, say I'm going to a conference and there's 100 people. My goal is not to walk away with 100 business cards. I want to meet 2 amazing people that I know I can help and that we might potentially work together down the road. So hang on to your cards as well. So don't be a card collector and don't be a sprayer. We've all met those people who literally, I was speaking a couple weeks ago, and right before I got up after the lunch meeting, this woman came by and did the spray with her cards. I'm like, oh, I'm talking next. I feel so bad. But you can't do the spray. No one's going to remember that. But if you do make a couple of great connections, you will walk away with some potential business. Don't drink. This is just my thing. After the end of the day, sometimes these are evening things. We're on an empty stomach or we're nervous. I'm telling you, if I had more than 1 glass of wine at one of these evening things, I'd be up at the table. So that's just my personal thing. I don't drink. And if you're going to a breakfast meeting, please don't drink. All right. And don't pitch. Don't pitch your services. You actually don't have to hard sell your services to close business. I'm going to share with you right here under Act Like a Host. This, if you're writing anything down under networking, you'll want to write this down. This is like the super secret ingredient. Act like a host. So I go to this networking function within my area in one of the niche markets that we serve. I only know 2 people, Paul and Rakesh. So I go there and people are starting to trickle in. I don't know anybody. So I thought, oh, I can't just stand here. I literally stumbled upon this strategy and it's awesome. So I thought, I can't just stand here. So I went right to the door. Bob walks in. Hey Bob, I'm Nikki, nice to meet you, come on in. Take him over, get him his name tag. Why don't you come over and meet my friend Paul? Introduce him to Paul. I go right back to the door. Hey Ann, great to meet you. Tell me a bit about your business. I want you to meet my friend Bob. Take him over. The whole night, I do this during the whole networking function. And it was really just so I wasn't bored. And so I started making all these connections for people, and I could hear people say, who is that? Is that girl with the organization? Who is it? People were thinking, oh, she must be involved in this organization somehow. I walked away with 2 awesome accounts who came up to me after and asked for my card, because they could see that I was helping other people. I was serving other people. So that one's a secret one. And also smile. I know it sounds really elementary. Some people have really hard faces. I have a girlfriend who's very high bone structure, and I'll say, Kristen, you need to smile because you look pissed off at the world. So you want to show those pearly whites. All right, strategic alliances. Great way to increase your business in your community. Who are your strategic alliances? Your graphic designers, your ad agencies, your printers. These are all people who serve your clients, but they don't necessarily compete with your business. These are awesome people to have a flood of referrals come into your business if you cultivate the relationship right. You have to form a strategic alliance with somebody you trust. So we have people who will come to us, they're a printer and they want to have a strategic alliance. I have got to trust you. If I wouldn't send you to Mom, we're not forming a strategic alliance. But I will tell you that those referrals, those strategic alliances will send you referrals. You want to make sure that it's a mutually beneficial relationship. You can send them referrals, they can send you referrals. But here's the cool thing. You go to your printer or you go to your graphic designer and you say, here, I trust you, we've done business together. Here are about 12 of my top people I'd love to introduce you to. They come up with a list of their top 12 people that they want to introduce you to. And you come up with some, we're in the industry, come up with a strategic kind of promotion or an announcement about the partnership. So there has to be that level of trust there and that give and take as well. But it's an amazing way to have instant access to those top VIP people. If they like you, they're not going to send pitas your way. And lastly, a new twist on greedy. So this is a concept which I call a greedy giver stack day. So as great relationship marketers, we know that we want to be able to try and help others first. We want to come from a place of authenticity and really seek to serve. So I love this strategy. Greedy Giver Stack Days are basically a day where you choose a hotel or that sounded like it could totally be going in a different direction, and that's not what, I'm not talking about that kind of client appreciation. So basically what you do is you might find a hotel. So we're located in Aurora, so I chose the Sheridan Parkway in Richmond Hill. What I do on that Greedy Giver Stack Day is I'll do a 10 o'clock, an 11 o'clock, a 12 o'clock, and a 1 o'clock. So I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going to be late for anything. I invite people to come in, pay for their coffee, pay for their lunch, and the entire meeting is all about them. I ask what challenges are going on in their business. What have they done so far to try and tackle those challenges? We might not even talk about promotional items, but I'm showing them that I care about them as a person. So we talk about challenges, what have they done, and then what can I do to assist? Sometimes assisting just means giving them a resource. It could be an amazing book that you've read, or a video that they have to watch, or a referral to a health practitioner if that's what they're going through at that moment. But setting it up from 10, 11, 12, and 1 allows you to completely compress that day. But it also gives you an opportunity to be a giver again, because typically if I'm doing a stack day like that, I want my 10 o'clock to meet my 11 o'clock. I want my 11 o'clock to meet my 12 o'clock, and my 12 o'clock, my 1 o'clock. So it might be something like my accountant. And then I have a client who's a financial advisor. What a great strategic alliance. And actually go out of my way to try and help other people. So that's a greedy giver strategy, which by the way is an excellent one to do when you do have those quote unquote slower months. Before that momentum builds up and they're no longer slower months, book a couple of those, even a week, if it's a quiet time of year. And you will get people respond in a really positive way. So last thing is the EVA principle. Just a reminder, I know that I've said it time and time again, but truly, if you make people feel engaged, valued, and appreciated, you will no longer have to do that hamster wheel chase of new clients over and over again, which exhausts each and every one of us. So I want to leave you with a quote, which is, no matter how seemingly insignificant a small act of gratitude may appear to you, it could be the tipping point for unshakable loyalty, retention, and success in your business.